I believe
we're live.
I believe we are live.
Yes.
So I don't know. Andy went to go check the audio, so we could be talking away and nobody's hearing
nothing. Right.
I like it how did you see how he did that? It's like he made it come live, and he says, "By the way, I'm going to leave you to check the audio."
Yep.
But anyway, hey, you guys have been here with us before with Doc Amey. He gave us a thumbs up. That means they can actually hear you. So you guys have been on here before. So again, Deborah Bly with the Bly team, and we're doing the Hometown Stories. If we do it great, we'll be every Monday at 5 o'clock. But anyway, we have Doc Amey here before. And before the whole COVID thing started, of course, we were doing the Hometown Stories. And I know there's a number of you that had tuned in to see Doc. And I have to tell you a little bit about what he's doing now, but I want to actually just back up, and I still need to revisit your story a little bit, honestly, because it's such a great story. I think it's a great story.
No, absolutely. I think it's an amazing story for the underdog and people who sometimes feel like they've lost hope and they've given up and they just feel like this is the end. And so I feel like sometimes when people do hear my story, it gives them a little bit of that extra, you know what? If he can do it, I can do it.
No, and so just to recap, if you haven't seen the old stories, and I'll have to find them and see if I can't post them up there if you haven't seen them. So Doc, you didn't grow up in the greatest of environments.
Right.
You grew up in Texas City. There was certainly a lot of drugs and that kind of stuff in your growing up. And to make not to go into the whole story, because I think we spoke for like 45 minutes on this, so we don't have time for that.
Right.
But you were in jail a couple of times?
Yes.
You had 42 felonies?
Close. It was close. And no, I actually have 6 felonies. I've been to prison 3 times. I've done drugs. I've sold drugs. My biological father passed when I was 6 months old. He was murdered in Galveston in a dice game. My mom was on drugs at a very early age. I lived with my grandmother and became a product of my environment very, very early on. And just living life and not understanding that I was actually following other people that were actually lost. And I found myself in 2008 in a hog barn, cleaning up hog mess as a job, and I got my parole denied. And I went in the corner and I cried and I just said, God, like, if you're real, like everybody say that you are real, then like you can get me out of this. And if you get me out of this, I'm done. I'm finished with everything.
Now you said that kind of twice, but then still went back from the third time. But that third time was the time that did it.
Yes.
And so we're not going to go into that whole story, although it's a great story. It really is. What the person I know today is, I mean, you have called me. You rally up troops and you do backpack drives for school where you
turkey drives.
So we've donated, and many of our good friends out there have brought paper and pens, and we would get the school list of stuff to fill up the backpacks. And like that one year, how many backpacks did you give out to school kids?
We gave about 2 years ago, right before COVID, we gave out 1,000 backpacks.
Yeah. So we were there at the. We were there helping you stuff the backpacks and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, so that is a Doc that I know. And then, I've also been to where you've gotten the donations for turkeys.
Oh, yeah.
And you were handing out turkeys out there in Texas City.
Yeah, we're still doing that as well, just helping families, because I know, especially now with everything that's going on with price increasing, inflation rates.
Incretion is that must be a Doc word. Go ahead, Doc.
Yeah, no. So I just
my husband calls me out when I use these funny words.
Yeah, no. I got the thing. I was trying to say increasing, and I thought about how bad everything was, and my mind just went all the way left field because it's bad out there.
Yes.
So, but I just really like to help people, because I know what it's like to not have and to go without and just really, not have.
Yeah.
And so I grew up very, very poor.
So this is the Doc that I know. So, you know, obviously not the Doc that he was years and years back. But,
yeah.
And anyway, just a great, great guy. So it's funny. You think it's hard to go out and get a job. What's it like going out and getting a job when you have 4 felonies or?
It's not okay. And that's why I try to tell people, like, if you haven't never been in any trouble, I tell these young men, listen, man, please do not do it. The worst thing that ever happened to me was going to fill out an application, not hearing back from them. When you call, they don't answer, and then getting your whole background mailed to you in the mail. Like, dude, do you not realize what you got on your record? Like, I can't hire you, man. And it hurts, but you got to keep pressing on, man, because it's easy to go back to what we're comfortable in doing.
Yeah.
But there's so many consequences if you get caught doing that. So yes, it's been hard. It's been a struggle, but God is faithful.
Yeah.
And so.
But anyway, you still managed to get jobs, hard-working,
yes,
put in hours and all that kind of stuff.
Got a beautiful wife with a beautiful home.
I'm going to tell you, like, you know, a rich guy with money driving a Jaguar could have snagged up the wife you got. You got an amazing wife.
Man, my wife been working at NASA for over 15 years. She's done very good for herself, and she toes the line, man. She definitely could have chose anybody but me. So I am very, very grateful for that, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes I kind of act like I'm ungrateful about it, but then I have to reel back in and say, no, that was definitely a blessing, man.
Yeah.
And so.
Well, she does. I tell you what, I think honestly, you did great turning your life around and all that kind of stuff. But I have to say, I mean, I know Michelle, right? She toes the line, and I'm sure she keeps you in check,
man. And I think that's where we bump heads at so much, because I'm not used to that. And I'm a high I on my disc assessment.
Oh, I know that.
And she's a high C.
Yep.
Like, she want to know if we're going from A to B, we need to make a plan out before we even get to start it. But it's like me, I want to go from A to Z, and we're going to figure it out on the way. And she's like, no, come sit down. Let's make a plan, figure it out, and then we can start moving.
Yeah, my husband's a high C too. And we but anyway, half these people probably don't know what a disc test is. So, but anyway, it's a personality thing.
Yeah.
We'll just keep it short.
Right.
But anyway, you just started up a new career and reached out to me. Of course, he reaches out to me all the time anyway. We just don't get together as often as we could and should.
Right.
And reached out to me, and I guess if you listened to the preview earlier, you might have a guess as to what he does. But come on, tell everybody about it.
So I am now into educating.
There you go.
I'm into educating, because most people they want to sell people stuff, and if you're like me, I don't want to be sold anything.
Nobody wants to be sold to.
No. So I am truly educating people on the benefits and the incentives of switching over to solar panels.
Yeah. So I think this is an interesting subject, and I'll tell you, as a real estate agent, you know, it was a little bit of a thing for a while, but it's certainly catching on, and I'll tell you more and more. And I also think back in the beginning, the technology of it was considerably different than the technology of it today, right? So I definitely think, you know, whatever answer I may have given you 4 or 5 years ago. No, I mean, if you had called me and asked me, hey, I'm thinking of getting these solar panels, what do you think? I mean, honestly, I was answering you with what I knew, not being as educated as you are, but educated enough to know that, you know, the technology they were dealing with 4, 5, 6 years ago, it's a little bit different than what they're dealing with now. So
yeah.
Give everybody, like, I wrote down some questions. So, why sales? I don't even think that you're good at sales. I think you definitely could talk to anybody. But I think, you know, like when you and I were talking before we got on here, like you're not about going in there and selling, you're about going in there and educating.
Right.
Right. So I think that's, and then, you know, from an educated point of view, you make your decision from there.
Exactly. And so what I try to get people to understand is what I see a lot is so many of these solar panel company people, they're very aggressive, they're very pushy, and they tell you all the pros. And they kind of let you figure out the cons on the back end by yourself, right?
Yeah.
But me, when I first started, I told the guy, hey man, listen, I'm a man of integrity and good character, and I'm gonna be honest to the people. And I'm gonna just tell them what it is, how does it work, what it does for them, what it can't do for them, and then I will let them make an educated decision that fits their family and what they're doing. And if it don't, no harm, no foul.
Right. No, so I like that, right? I mean, I don't care what decision you make. There's pros and there's cons. Just give both to me, and
Right.
you know, I can move in and make my decision from there, right?
Yeah, don't tell me a bunch of success stories of everything it does, and like there's nothing bad happens to it, and nah, it is what it is. So yeah.
So anyway, the pros and the cons. So definitely let's talk about some of those pros, right? You were talking to me about, and it's so funny because I have a house listed right now, and that started getting me a little bit more interested anyway. I have a house listed right now, and he's showing me his electric bills, and it's like in this case, he doesn't have an electric bill. Like it's virtually almost 100% being covered by the solar panels he has on his house. So
yeah, and so what I educate people on, right? So solar panels is actually the panels that they place on top of your roof, where you become a owner of your energy and you're no longer a renter, and making these companies billions of dollars, where you can actually start making your own energy and save money and put money in your own pocket. And not only that, when you put solar panels on your house, your house actually goes up in value by 4%. And so one of the biggest benefits that right now that we have in Texas and other states that host solar panels is the tax credit that was 26%. It just got passed in the law, and it's now 30%.
So what you're saying there is, after you evaluate, you know, is a solar panel thing for me or not for me, and you decide to move forward, you're actually going to get a tax credit back from
the government.
From the government for, it was 26%.
And now it's 30%.
And now it's 30%.
Exactly.
I think that's fantastic. So, I mean, in actuality, I guess you're paying for 70% of the unit.
Yeah, it was 74%, and now it's 70%.
Okay.
And
cool.
so the reason that they're doing that is because, you know, you're taking power off of the grid, clean, renewable energy, you're helping the environment, you know, like right now, as we was talking earlier, in California, and anybody can go and do their research. I got friends all in California. Anybody in California right now that decides they want to build from the ground up, they have to put solar in the deal.
I just found that out, and I am going to go do my research, but I just found that out today when we were speaking downstairs a minute ago.
Yeah, you got to have solar if you're a new build in California right now.
So the benefits are, of course, you get the tax credit, but you know, really, the main, you know, one of the great benefits is it's clean and green, right?
Right.
And then the other benefit is your overall monthly cost is going to be less than what you're paying today.
Exactly. So like say if a person who, let me put this in there, you have to qualify as well, right? So it's just because you're a homeowner and you decide to go solar and you're not paying straight out with cash, you have to actually qualify. And that takes about a 630. And you're talking
about, that's like a credit check, right?
Right, 630 through 650 and you will be good. So what you're basically doing is...
He was talking about credit scores?
Yes. So basically what you're doing, you're taking your light bill from Texas, New Mexico, or Reliant, or wherever they're at, who rates are going to continually go up. They're not going to ever go back down from where they're at. They're going to keep going up. and you're gonna have to keep on eating it no matter what.
So what I liked about what you said is, and I hadn't really even thought about it that way, but yeah, you know, house prices go up, rents go up, the cost of bread goes up. But when you get your solar panels, you're at a fixed cost, and that's a cost you're going to keep throughout the duration of.
And you can look and say, you know what, this is how much my monthly payment is. If I save this much, $7 every day, $10 or whatever, however much each day, I know without a shadow of a doubt, I don't care if they had this many lights on or that many lights on, long as my solar panels are producing more than I consume, this is how much my bill is going to be.
Yeah.
And so another con that the solar people may not tell people, but I will be open and honest and tell people that you are still connected to the grid, right?
Well, and I think to me that's intuitive, but I
Right.
mean you would be, because if for some reason the solar panels didn't work, you still want to be connected to the
Right,
grid.
exactly.
But you can actually you tell
Yeah,
your
so
story.
you're still connected to the grid, right? And so if, say, this month that you overconsumed and less produced, and you don't have any energy that you overproduced and less consumed the months before and have it in the energy bank, then you're gonna have to buy some of the energy from the grid. But if you overproduce and underconsume, you have energy stored up in an energy bank. So whenever you overconsume those 300 watts and you got 600 watts of production laying over here,
it just comes back to
it
you.
just comes back to you, and it offsets so you don't have to come out of your pocket. Another thing people ask me, well, if I'm got solar panels and say the grid go out, is my lights gonna go out as well? Unfortunately, yes, your lights will go out as well because you're still connected to the grid. But how many times a week, month, a year do your lights actually go out, right? And being that you are on the solar panels, from my understanding, still need to do a little research, but I'm giving you my understanding of it. The morning of, if there's sun and you're producing energy, your lights will come back on.
Well, I like what you had to say too, because you can also get batteries.
Yeah,
and you can store up on your batteries. So let's just say, and that I actually thought was really fascinating. Say we had that freeze from a couple of years ago. We all remember that one.
Yes,
here in
ma'am.
Texas.
Yeah.
We had that freeze from a couple of years ago, and those batteries will actually store enough electricity, depending on the size that you get,
Right.
that you could go that 7 days and still be able to take the energy from those batteries and power up your house.
Right. But my recommendation is, if you just got it like that, get the batteries. But if you don't, I would hold off a couple of years, because the way that technology is evolving, in the next couple of years, you're going to have so many battery makers that you're going to be able to get a battery almost half of what it is right now.
Yeah. So I think that's fascinating too, because I'll tell you what, we have gas heating in my house, but because we have that electronic igniter, it was freaking cold.
Man, I just thank God, I'm not going to even lie, man. We didn't lose power at all.
Yeah, we lost it for a good solid, at least 5 days. But anyway, so you're getting solar panels put on your house.
That is the number one question that everybody asks me, which has now become my number one marketing tool. Doc, if solar panels is so good that you speak about, are you getting them on your house?
Yes.
And the question is yes.
No, the answer
is yes. I am getting them on my house, because once I truly got to understand what they were, how they do, and how they work, and the money that we can save living in our home with 5 people and 3 kids that don't cut the lights off, it was a no-brainer.
Yeah, we were talking, it's like I got to get my husband to cut the lights off. Because anyway, if any of you guys have questions, we would love to see it. So definitely post your questions. I'm sure Doc is going to share this video on his Facebook post.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure any questions that you have, he's going to be happy to get back with you and answer.
Yeah.
I think Andy has a question.
2 stories, does it matter? Is there more power being pulled before solar if you have,
So-
have 2 stories?
So it doesn't matter 1 story or 2 story. It all goes by the consumption that you use, and we go in and we look and see how much. Okay, in July you use 1,279 kilowatts. In June you use 1,300 kilowatts, and so then we're going to build you a system that is going to get as close as we can to 100% offset to where you're producing more than you're actually consuming.
Or at least producing as much as, or
You consume.
at a minimum producing as much as you consume.
Exactly, and that doesn't matter upstairs or downstairs, 2 story, 1 story.
Yeah.
Follow-up question, with all the electric cars coming out here, can solar power produce that?
So
Oh, that's a good question.
Thank you.
In case you guys didn't have it,
Ugh,
with
that's a great question, because guess what? We have an EV charger that goes that you can actually get connected in your garage, and it's cheaper than the battery, but it's an EV charger.
So the question was
So
with the
you can get
electric.
solar, yeah.
The question was, in case you didn't hear it, because I don't know if they can hear you in the background there, Andy.
They can.
If you have, they can. Okay. So you heard the question. If you have an electric car, will you be able to use the electricity?
Yeah, so we have an EV charger that will actually work through with the solar panel, that you can actually get solar for your electric vehicles.
All right. There you go. So, Andy, do you have any other questions?
No, those are the only 2 I had.
All right. Any other questions that maybe came up?
As of right now, but Janice, Miss Janice says hello.
Tell her I said, tell her I said hi.
Of course, Janice is watching. She's the bomb.
I just want to tell you thank you for everything. Anytime I call, you are always there. You have definitely been one of those people that me and my wife can say that turned from friends to family overnight. We love you and Dan and the kids. We love you guys so much. We miss y'all. And just thank you for everything.
No,
Dan.
that's sweet, Doc. And I feel, honestly, Danny and I feel the same way about you guys. You guys are awesome. We consider you friends, family. And anyway, I hope you all the best in your new career.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking forward to hearing more about it. If anybody has any questions, put them on Facebook, and I'm sure Mr. Doc, you'll be glad. You should ask a question just so you get to have him give you a call, because he is just, he's just amazing to talk with. Thanks for tuning in.